4, 3, 2, 1,
Sync.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to TTV's official spoiler review for the Lego Ninjago movie.
It sucked.
I
Y'all
figured
ready
it'd be best to just get that out of the way first. Without any build-up, this video will contain spoilers. Do we want to do a spoiler-free section first and then skip on the timestamp, or just say all spoilers all the way through?
All spoilers all the way.
I'm a little.
Yeah, spoilers
I'm
all the
emotional
way.
right now,
Okay.
so there's no holds barred here.
Yeah,
Alright,
honestly,
So,
same thing.
just, if you're listening
out,
to this and
boys.
you want to know our opinions, it is worth supporting, I think. I believe it's
Yes.
worth going to see the movie, if for no other reason than to support the Lego Cinematic Universe.
Well,
So if you haven't seen
let's
it
also
yet,
make it.
go
I
see
want to make it clear. Ninjago movie is Lego's own thing, and so if you support its own thing, there's more chance of it doing more stuff.
This
from
is the
Lego.
one movie that Lego could really benefit from for
Yeah.
being really good.
Yeah,
So
go
please show your
watch
support.
it.
Please show your support for
Please.
Lego. Please go for it.
And if you would like to hear
And
our
then-
thoughts, come back to this video once
If
you've
you're
seen
interested
the
in
movie.
original IPs, at least.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. In the future, and then we can come talk about it.
Quite right.
Yeah, like Bionicle.
Sure. Why not one of
So,
those?
the Lego Ninjago movie. We've been
Did
looking
anyone here
forward to...
actually like it?
Wow,
Yes.
I can't even do it.
No,
intro.
I
Let's
like
get
it.
those few opinions out of the way first
Do we
before we
want
start
to
ripping it to
introduce
shreds.
ourselves?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Who's gonna be the odd man out that liked it? Mange, I heard you say.
I'm
I
Messa.
enjoyed
it.
Let's
Messa did-
introduce
no,
ourselves,
let's go with the
guys.
introduction.
Let's not break structure. I'm Messa.
I'm Var. I hated it.
Oh, I'm Jonathan. I also hated it. I'm sorry. I forgot.
I'm Ben. I didn't like it.
I'm purple. It made me sad.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus, and I liked it.
Yeah, and I also quite liked it. I'll be
All right,
honest.
perfect. It's a cornucopia of opinions. I love this. I was hoping we weren't going to be super like on
Now,
one train here.
Let me get this out of the way first, though. When
Go
I
for
say
it.
I liked it, it does not mean that I think it was like a perfect movie.
Yeah, it's not an amazing movie, but
But I do believe that.
Let's get this out of the way. The third best one, right? Out of all three movies, does everyone agree with that?
Objectively, yes. Subjectively, I did like it more than Batman.
All right, I can.
I liked the idea of a Ninjago movie more than
Here's what-
Batman,
okay.
but I didn't like the execution.
Yeah, here's the thing. I liked this movie more than Batman, but it's not because I think the movie's a better movie. I think it's
Same.
a far worse movie.
Okay.
In almost every regard.
It's because
I just
have
like
more of
Ninjago.
I have more of an
Exactly.
attachment to Ninjago than I do.
I'm more
Batman.
interested in seeing a Ninjago movie than I am a Lego Batman movie. So for me,
Yeah.
I got more enjoyment out of watching this movie than I did Batman. With that said, this movie was not great.
I can't say I feel the same.
Kind of like exaggeration of how I really feel, but I did not like it to a very.
How do we
degree.
even want to like?
was
There's
just-
so much here to dig into.
I was hardly ever really impressed with Ninjago media. The TV show's okay, I guess. I didn't really have too many expectations for the movie. The movie didn't do much for me, so I don't like it. I definitely can't say that there's anything about it that I would say I like more than Batman or the original Lego movie.
How do we even want to tackle this? Because there's so many moving parts. You know, like where.
I just want to like rant
Each person
for
gives a
really long
brief monologue, and then we get into a discussion.
we
typically
each criticize each other's points or back them up.
I do want to hear. All right, I want to hear Envy and Meso first. actually.
Yeah, that's where I think we should start because
Yeah.
there's you guys like the movie, and I do want to hear like why it is that you like. The
Man,
movie
you
and
take
what
it from the
is that-
start, because otherwise I'll just rant on. So go ahead.
I'm kidding. Since you're comparing it to Lego Batman, I think maybe overall Lego Batman was a better movie, but I feel like it has not a lot of replay value to me. Like, I've seen Lego Batman a bunch of times now, and I'm pretty tired of watching Lego Batman. Like, it was funny the first time, and then the rest of it is just kind of like, to me. Like, I already know everything. I don't like the pace of the movie as much. I thought Ninjago movie might not have been as strong of a movie, but I feel like I can get more replay value out of it. Like, I liked the dialogue more than I did Lego Batman. I found it to be a pretty funny movie. You know, I'm not too experienced in Ninjago, so, I mean, I've only seen a season. I have a few sets. That's about it. I'm pretty new to it, so I didn't have many expectations for what it was going to be like lore-wise, or like, just, yeah, story-wise. So I just came into the movie expecting a funny movie, and to me, it, like, delivered. It seemed pretty
man.
childish at first. Like, at first I was like, oh man, this movie's gonna suck. But I felt like it just got better to me over time. Like, as the movie
Okay, that's
progressed.
interesting.
And it stayed at a pretty it was pretty consistent with the pace, in my opinion. Like, I didn't feel like
Yeah.
the reviews were like, oh yeah, first hour is so explosive.
I felt
and then
it was more
second
consistent
hours
than
were like,
Yeah.
I thought it was very
That's-
even.
Yeah,
That's a
the
really
whole
good point. I actually wanted to ask everybody that because this is something that I experienced going into the movie for sure. It was like I had watched plenty of reviews that were trashing the movie and saying like, "Oh man, that first act was so good, but man, the second and third acts killed it. It was the worst part of the movie."
First act was
It was
the
a
worst.
complete opposite for
Right,
me. I went into that movie
100%.
hating the first act to the point where I looked at the exit and was like, I could just leave. I don't have to watch this movie. I don't have to be here. But when the second act kicked in and then we get to the third act, it was actually much more enjoyable for me.
I can agree with that.
Same. I will agree with that as well. Actually, there's a point in time where I was the same thing. I was like, I could just walk out, but I was like, man, I gotta watch this movie, for the coverage.
paid $20
and we paid
each.
$20 each.
That's ridiculous.
I paid $40 and covered Ben's ticket. I paid $40
Oh.
for the Ninjago.
I'm so sorry.
You're-
I am
You're
sorry,
a true
buddy.
friend,
You're
John.
welcome. No, listen. You're welcome, Lego. Because I supported. You look at that $21 million opening night. You're gonna see 40 of those dollars came from me.
my opinions towards the movie are very similar to Envy's there. Like, I do think that when I said this movie's like good and I enjoyed it, for me it's like I have to get a certain amount of things from the Lego movie, a certain amount that I expected. When I went into this movie, I expected cool action, funny jokes, and a story with a moral and some heart to it that makes you care about the characters.
Did you notice that some of the action was reused?
Oh yes.
All the time.
Oh.
That was probably the worst part.
Okay.
But I mean, like, I got some cool action scenes from it. I got some spectacle. I thought the jokes were mostly well done, with a few exceptions that I think we're gonna be getting to. And I did walk away from the movie caring way more about Lloyd and Garmadon than I ever did from the TV show.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Sure.
same,
So
to be honest.
That's fair.
It,
That's
it
fair.
checked
I do
all
like
three
Lloyd a lot
of those expectations. Maybe not as much as I would have hoped for, but like you compare that to Batman, and I had those same expectations. But for me, this is like completely subjective. I know more about Ninjago than I do Batman, so I got more of the in-jokes and the references to Ninjago that I did with Batman. And I also felt like this movie, Ninjago, had some decently bad, I wouldn't say no pacing is the right word, but it kind of lost direction with its story a little bit around the
Pacing is
middle.
not the-
I
pacing's
thought
not the
that
right
Batman
word. It's a
had a very
structure.
Batman had a very similar thing after all the villains got sent to jail, where the movie just slowed down to a crawl as Bruce like got all introspective and like he met Robin and like he did a bunch of stuff, and it only really picked back up again when the licensed villains attacked. But that was a plot twist I kind of hated.
Yeah.
So with this movie,
I didn't like that part either.
I felt like it had a very similar thing where it slowed down to a crawl in the middle, except it didn't bother me as much. I don't know. That's basically it. Like, I can get into more stuff throughout this video, but those are my general things. Now, counter me. Talk about the comedy, because you were about to like yell at me.
Oh,
about that.
God, okay.
I was
Okay.
so disappointed with the comedy. I was expecting to laugh. I maybe chuckled or did my weird like
yeah, I
breathing.
laughed like once.
There's
I
one
laughed at
funny
one
scene.
joke.
I
I
laughed at
remember
funny
the one
scene.
joke that made me laugh.
Okay, let's hear that. What's the one joke?
The one joke, and it's hilarious. Okay, so the one joke that made me laugh
Okay.
was when, because they played up the whole Zane's a robot thing a lot. They ruined Zane's character to play up this stupid little comedy bit that he's secretly a robot, right? The one joke that made me laugh was when, I don't even remember what happened, but someone did something or something ridiculous happened, and everybody like gasped or screamed or reacted, and Zane was like, gasp. And it was like a really brief cut. It was 1 second, and then it moved on. That was funny. And then they did that joke again, and I stared at the screen and I was like, you had me once. You're gonna do it again.
Lightning
All right,
doesn't strike twice.
sure. And then they did it again for a third time,
Oh, man,
and then
this
I was
movie
really
does that a
angry.
lot.
Yeah.
The
I
one
think
funny-
probably the funniest joke in that whole movie to me is in the very beginning when Lloyd and Zane like first meet up, and Zane's like, "Oh, my mom is always getting up on my case. She's always like," and then he makes a bunch of like air noises.
I hated,
like,
I
mimic
hated
her.
that
No, I was
joke.
like, I thought...
I know. I thought that was
I
actually
went
pretty
into
funny,
this
but I've seen
movie,
it before, so
the
I
moment
didn't
we
laugh
saw
at
the
it in
trailer,
theater.
The problem with that joke is that I wrote that before. Like, we wrote that. That was in our project that is coming out.
Listen,
That was in
okay.
our project.
We literally made that joke, though.
Listen, can we?
Well, if we did, then I forgot about it.
I do want to kind of point out that thing that you're saying. I guess we can talk about it a little later. My main thing coming out of this movie is that I was like, boy, I could have written a way better movie. Just like
Exactly!
I was
It's like I'm not even a good writer, and even I could do something
it's like,
better than that.
I came out of it being like, no, listen, I don't know who dropped the ball on that, but like legitimately, not even like. I was like, I really could have written a better movie. You give me the premise, redo Ninjago, and I could like easily just like tidy this up. I could be an editor for this thing and clean it up completely.
I agree completely. Here's the problem that I had with the movie. The majority of the big issue that I think is what really caused this movie to fail.
Okay.
For one thing, it's got 6 writers. There's a lot of writers here. Every review you're going to see about this movie is going to mention that, by the way, that it's got 6 writers. No, that was a big problem. It's true.
It's 100% true.
It's true, and it shows. Yeah, for sure. For me, it felt like there was very little love that went into this movie. It felt like everybody involved, at least in the writing department, was like, we really wanted to work on Batman, and now we've been assigned to Ninjago, and well, I mean, Ninjago's cool, I guess, but Batman's what we wanted. And now they're just like, they're stuck assigned to this project that they just have to get done.
They're not familiar with.
No,
yeah.
And a lot of people didn't watch the entirety of that TV series, or they just didn't do their homework. And I don't think you need to watch the TV series to get the movie or to write a movie per se.
I don't either.
But I think if you're a screenwriter, you should look at your source material at least a little bit, and you should also give like strengths of the movie and actually give a cohesive story structure, because it fails at a very basic level of storytelling.
I feel
at
like
a very
they did
fundamental
like
level,
material.
it fails.
Why, like, the reason why I mentioned this, though, is because I feel like that is really what stems for why everything is bad. And I think the problem is that you have writers who are working on this movie who wanted to tell a very particular story, right? And to do that, they kind of ignored everything else about the movie. So you've got, like, I was telling Purple this the other night, right, while we were talking after the movie. It's like, you've got the writers, and they're like, man, we're stuck with this Ninjago thing. We really want to make a movie about a father and his son and how they're like at odds and there's ties together and there's a divorce going on and they really want to get back together and have a good family bonding relationship. And then everybody else in the movie was like, that sounds like a good idea, but remember we're making a Kung Fu Ninja movie here, guys. So just
the whole
like
father-son thing
Max.
was already kind of touched upon in the original Lego movie.
We kind of already did that plot, so if you guys could just like dial it in, like let's make sure we focus on the ninja parts a little bit too. And they're like, oh yeah, no, don't worry, we got it. And then they're like, okay, so mention the Kai guy here. Good, that's some ninja stuff there. Okay, back to the father-son thing, and they just completely disregarded the
let's
actual.
not forget about the big commercial where we show off every single mech.
And say the name. Hey, everybody, use your call sign. It's just my call sign is 72736.
My favorite part about
I
the
just
whole
saw those
movie
toys.
is that,
All right, back to the father-son
end,
plot.
Right at the end, when they do the song, then they're like rapping about the ninja, which I like that song, by the way. They
I
were
did
getting
too.
to the parts of the ninja, and they have no characters, so they had to like put the names of their mechs in there. And that's my favorite part. They're like, look at Nia keeping everybody in check with her water strider mech, and I'm like, you really couldn't like figure anything else out.
No, well, I mean,
It's
part
emblematic
of
of a larger issue.
it's emblematic of a much larger issue, and that issue is, at some level, they ditched completely. What I was talking about is right. They ditched the team idea. The idea of having a team of ninja, and literally the other ninja can be taken out of this movie and nothing changes.
Basically.
Except that they're the
Absolutely
key to
nothing
the
changes.
plot. But
No.
without like...
It's
No,
like
no,
the
no,
concept
no, no,
of
no.
a ninja
The
team
key-
is
the key to the plot.
Here's the thing. There's
No,
two
no,
different
no, no,
plots.
no.
Yeah.
There's two different plots. There's the father-son plot, which
Right.
is the one that the movie focuses on. But then there's the true potential, reaching your inner element power thing plot. That's another plot. These are two different plots, two different conflicting storylines. The other ninja are tied to that plot.
Right. But
Of reaching your inner and finding yourself, essentially, is what the moral for that one is.
The
Whereas the
problem
other one
is-
is family.
the problem is there's no conflict with the second plot, and the resolution that comes from the conflict is only done by the first plot. So the father-son thing, that's the conflict at the very beginning. It carries through the middle, and at the very end, when Lloyd goes up to confront Garmadon, and they somehow make it okay with Meowthra for whatever reason. They don't even explain how that doesn't just resolves, but he doesn't actually need the other ninja to do that. right? So the entirety of
Exactly.
that plot, that resolution in the third act, it doesn't come from the ninja. That's just something they added on as a B plot. That's so
Exactly.
B plot. It's basically a C plot, a D plot at this point.
I feel the
So
intention
that
was
big
Lloyd.
that big crazy scene where Lloyd reveals what his true like element is, and that he's life or whatever, and that's what that whole thing was. That
I
had
did
nothing to
really
do
like
with the
that.
father. That had nothing to do with the father-son arc.
The
That
thing
was
they were
completely
trying
tied.
to say was that because like he's discovered this about himself and he realizes like how to help people out, figure out the truth
listen.
about themselves, he's then gonna help his father.
I know, but like he's
No.
already reaching
That's-
already with the father-son plot is already
Yeah.
the evolution of that relationship. He doesn't need to realize that
That's
he can
them
fix the
trying to
relationship.
tie it last minute
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
but it really doesn't have any connection
Let's-
outside of that.
I want to, before we get too far into it, I do want to say some positive things about the movie, which I really enjoyed. I feel that the visuals are amazing. The designs for the characters are amazing. I'm a guy, I like the TV show. I was also on board at the reboot, and a lot of people weren't on board. There's some fans who like, oh, I wanted to be closer to TV show. I get why they did that. I actually like a lot of the designs. I like all of the designs for the
Yeah,
Ninja.
honestly, like the movie Ninja are way better and more interesting already, in like what little screen time they had. Than
And
The biggest
before.
crime,
And
the biggest crime this movie does is that it doesn't focus on them.
right, and not only that,
Yeah.
the voice acting cast is phenomenal.
This
Hilarious
might be me
people,
coming from the
great
perspective of a
chemistry.
TV show fan, but like, and this probably is because obviously with a movie with an ensemble cast, it's bad to have 5 out of the 6 characters have no development. But like, we've already got years and years worth of development for those characters as the Ninjago franchise. We've never really had like Lloyd is the focus of the story. We've never really focused on him as a character.
Yeah, but
So I don't
I-
mind this movie focusing
the
on Lloyd.
issue
while the
is they're
others
completely
play
different
supporting
characters.
roles.
You've seen the TV show characters be the TV show characters. These are the movie characters. I like the movie characters. I'm not going to see them basically until the sequel comes out for
Which might
Ninjago
not
movie.
happen.
Sequel.
Yeah, which might not happen, right? So the issue is for this one, I'm not going to see these characters I actually really enjoyed. They're completely different from their TV show counterparts, and I enjoy that. But I'm not
I
going to be
also
able to
have
see
very
it.
little
So
faith
I
in
don't.
Yeah,
Ninjago.
I agree with that
I
sentiment.
have very little faith that the writers could have pinned a ensemble cast movie.
Well,
Like,
no,
they already
They
did a poor
could.
job
They
here.
could have.
They
Like,
could
If
have.
they didn't focus on the father-son dynamic.
Right.
That's the problem.
That would be my solution if I was to rewrite this movie. Additionally, too, the writers could have also just given the actors a lot of room to improv, and the improv would have been hilarious. I was watching the
Apparently they
outtakes,
did.
the outtake reel for the movie. They do like an animated outtake reel. They animated like this in the booth.
Yeah.
Hilarious stuff. Way funnier than anything in that movie. Just the actors playing off each
Oh,
other
yeah.
and stuff. I loved it. So I do feel
From-
that.
According to some pre-release reports, most of it, or a lot of the comedy, was actually improv.
They're thinking of Garmadon and Lloyd, which I feel a lot of that was improv, and that was also pretty good as well. But for me, the standout funniest part of the movie that I was talking about earlier, and I think Van, we have the same idea of when that was, is the moment where all the ninja they're walking in the forest and they're talking with Garmadon,
Yep.
and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
Yep.
and I was like, the jokes
That was the
were
best
like
scene. That
on-
was great.
Best scene in the
on
whole
Yeah.
movie.
fire. Just the comedy was on point. The characters were great. I was like, this is the Lego movie.
TV show references.
That's the movie I wanted to
That's
watch
just the
too.
movie I
That
wanna
scene.
watch.
That's the movie
Yeah.
I wanted to
Bitten
see
by
more
a
of.
snake?
Yep.
Yeah, the snake was bitten by a spider.
I know,
This
like,
doesn't make
like,
any sense. How do you
why
know,
do you-
Lloyd? You weren't there.
Yeah, like, that was really funny.
So when you're getting the extra 2 arms, were you like freaked out, or were you like, oh cool, I'm getting 2? Like they're questioning the premise of the show.
Look what I could do with both my sets of arms. It
Yeah.
looks like I'm making
Making
out
out
with
with
2
two-
people.
It's like everyone, like there we go. That's what I want. That's what
So
I
you
love.
laughed at Zayn, but you didn't laugh at that.
What?
No, I thought
mean-
all of that stuff was great. So I think. I think those scenes really worked well, and
They
I
worked
wish that the movie
amazing.
focused on that stuff more.
Right.
Because I agree that I like the movie Ninja more than the TV show Ninja, and I know that's probably blasphemy for a lot of people. But the thing is, this movie suffers from not focusing on these characters enough and developing them in any meaningful way. That's very much a true criticism here. These ninja are outside of just template characters with no personalities. That's what they are. They're just one-dimensional, very much caricatures of what a character should be.
And
With that said,
when they're trying to get into it, they cut them off. That's the issue of the movie.
right, exactly. So, but with that said, the base character traits that the movie gives to them, I find more interesting than the characters of the TV show. If we reduce
Yeah.
the
I'm
TV
curious
show
what you're
characters,
talking about with that.
Oh, okay. I'll explain.
Elaborate.
If we reduce the TV show characters down from all the development that they've had, those those episode storylines that focus on them as emotional characters with backstories and everything, cool. If we got rid of all of that and reduced them back down to their base premise from the very beginning of the show, Kai has fire, Nia has water, and like that. Essentially, that. I don't
Kai
know
is the
what
main character. No, Lloyd is.
I don't know what makes any of them stand out from each other. Zane stood out immediately in the very first episode because he was the weird one, right? We didn't know he was a robot then, but he immediately stood out because his personality was very different. He was very he didn't get comedy, he didn't get funny humor, he didn't know how to emote. That was what made him interesting. So Zane from the very get-go was a very interesting character, but none of the other people were. They were all just templates.
Yeah, exactly.
And even to this day, after 8 seasons of the TV show, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
We still can't define who Cole is as a person.
It's like he.
But in the movie, Cole's the
He
music
likes
guy.
food.
Yeah.
And
He
that's
likes
it.
food,
And he
but he
fights with
didn't like
Jay.
food for 5 seasons. That was a new thing. He liked food halfway through the show's lifespan. So it's like
his dad didn't like him being a ninja.
He had daddy issues.
He did
Whoa.
have
he had daddy issues that had
had
no relevance
daddy
to any of his
issues?
character development outside of that one episode that his dad appeared in.
He
in
felt like
season
his
1.
friends forgot
No, I
him
mean,
because he was a ghost.
You're totally right. You're completely right, but with the exception of Lloyd, Cole, those are the two, and Zane, who I thought was good but you hated with a passion. Who else has been radically improved?
Nia has absolutely been
Nia,
radical.
yeah,
She's
Nia's
the
I
same
know,
character.
I know,
Way better.
I know. A
Way
lot of
better.
people are going to be like, she's basically Wild Style too, and I agree with you. She is basically Wild Style too.
It-
The thing is, Wild Style is an infinitely more interesting and fun character to watch than Nia from the TV show is.
But
So
yeah,
while she might not be very new or radically different, she's more interesting. Nia honestly ticked me off. I mean, if you watch TLDR, you see my reaction to the show. Yeah. Nia
It's
ticked
like
me off
she's
that
a
entire
damsel in
season.
distress, but she
Current-
isn't, and then she
current
can't
Nia.
decide between her boyfriend and some random dude who apparently likes her because the
Hands of
machine said
Time
everything.
Nia, aka modern day Nia, and the movie Nia are the same character.
I watched
I don't
Hands
even
of
remember
Time.
Hands of Time,
I don't.
What?
I don't. I think you're off
No,
your rocker.
if you
I
want to go back through
I
the
can't
years
see
worth of
Hands of
character
Time Nia.
development.
I can't see Hands of Time Nia walking into a hallway and then looking down at Kai and being like, "Bro, oh, real bro."
But what you said before about boiling down the character to basically the barest minimum. She's the confident go-getter.
I
you
think.
know.
Except
Okay,
Nia
well,
wasn't
then,
confident in the show. She operated in the shadows.
Yeah, she had character progression.
Sure. I mean,
That's why I say modern.
Here's
Nia.
what the thing too. I do feel like by exaggerating a bit of the comedy that the show's characters, or not the show's characters, the TV show characters and the movie characters, the difference is the exaggerated form actually makes what they're kind of going for executed a little better, if that makes sense. Like Zane, for example, his robotness, a lot of the things that happen with his robot come over the arc of him feeling displaced and feeling out of thing, and they have episodes to focus on that. But on the first episode, Zane's the guy that just doesn't get comedy, right? And he's kind of a robot, but they're not fully committing to it.
Right.
And the movie, they fully commit to it for comedy's sake, and I think that works better because they don't.
I didn't
have
think
the
it
time
worked
to wait.
personally because it didn't make any sense to
most
me.
people hate Zane, though. What are you trying to say, Joe?
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
I-
That's what I'm saying. I do like. I mean, just from the premise of the character being more comedic, I get why people don't like that more than the serious character they've grown to know and love. Because Zane's character benefits from him going through all this stuff, but you can't do that in the movie. I feel for the movie, the comedy stuff when it came to Zane
Yeah.
is the.
And to be
rest of it should have
fair,
gone
if
with
they
it.
actually did anything with Zane at all, then perhaps I would actually like that character a bit more. But
Right.
as it stands, him being just the one note comedy thing that wasn't ever actually funny to me is what kind of makes him not work. Also, because another review brought this up, and I still don't, I agree with it because I don't understand Zane's character at all. Do the ninja know he's a robot, or do they not know he's a robot?
I mean, they
what's
must
going
know
on
he's
there?
a robot. Okay, in the
But
show,
why is he
you
pretending
know,
to
in the
be-
show,
why
you
is he
know
pretending
why
to be
he's a
human?
robot, but
Who is
it's
he
never
trying to
explained in
fool?
the movie.
That brings up my own criticism that I thought about. I'll let you guys go at this first.
Well, I mean, also, do the ninja just forget they have elemental powers until halfway through the movie when Sensei Wu reminds them and
No,
he gives them the
they-
lecture, or do they not have them at all?
They don't have them.
I kind
Yeah,
of
they don't
presume
have
it's
them
one
at
of
all.
those things they knew the knowledge, but just like in the show, they were lazy. They needed to mature. they were like, "Yeah, we can't do them. You know, it's something for the future."
Well, no, I don't.
Episode
I
one ninja.
Yeah,
I don't think they knew they had elemental powers at all until Wu tells them halfway through.
Yeah, because he talks about how they like rely too much on their mechs. They've like really lost sight of what it actually means to be a ninja, and that's why he tells them to go and find.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's
lost
showing them their
perspective.
elements for the first time, and that's when Lloyd is like, "So wait, what's my element then?"
Oh, and this
Green.
is green.
Green.
And
Yeah.
they do some references there of like to the TV show with like gold and like wind, right? I think actually wind is kind of a bit more of a Bionicle reference. I felt.
Now it's Mora.
Oh, is it Moro?
Now that you
you
mentioned that about like Lloyd's surprised reaction, that does make sense. When I interpreted that scene about like you've lost sight, let me remind you.
That's what I thought it was. To be
It doesn't
honest.
really make any sense if
Yeah.
they're learning about it. For
No,
the
now
first
that you
time.
point that out, all right, that makes more sense.
Well, no,
to me.
I just think like they obviously knew that they had elements, quote unquote, but I think
Like,
that they just assumed it was
affiliations
just
to
yeah,
certain elements.
it was to them it was just a call sign. They
Yeah.
didn't know they could actually produce fire
Okay.
and water.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
I guess like going off with the thing of the characters, I agree. Like again, I do like the TV show characters because I like the TV show. When I say I'm more interested in the movie characters, it's not because I think the movie characters are better necessarily. What I'm saying is that the base principle, the template they gave us to work
I think
with,
they've got the potential to be better.
right, they got the potential
Yeah.
to be better from the first episode of the TV show. If you compare the first episode of the TV show to the first thing in the movie, I feel like if these characters were given their own TV show, I would enjoy them more at the end of that TV show. If that makes sense, they have more room
yeah.
to work with.
I agree absolutely. I was really upset that we're. I don't say I was really upset. I think I am kind of upset that we're not actually rebooting the TV show. Because I would prefer to get a rebooted TV show with these ninja to get to know these guys a bit more because I actually really liked them from the very small amount of time that they were actually on the screen.
I believe they'll be transplanting some personality cues. Like I guarantee
hope so.
Cole's going to be the music guy.
I hope so.
That's what I really hope for Cole. Cole's a character that I've always felt got the short end of the stick. Even when he had a whole season devoted to him, I kind of still don't know what his character is like. You know, I don't really. I can't
Yeah,
really
it
describe him.
still seemed like it was centered around Lloyd because it's like, oh, we have to save Lloyd. Oh, and Cole just happens to be a ghost.
Yeah, Cole just happened to be a ghost this time. What happened with this movie is that for the most I've ever been in the history of the show, I was on board with Nia and Jay. I was like, oh, these two are
Nia and
these
Jay,
are
yeah.
adorable.
Yep.
I want them.
Jay was so much more likable as a character. And Jay's another character who I can't stand
okay.
in the TV show.
He's
Yeah,
not
I
like
hate
incessantly
Jay in
annoying
the
and
TV
complaining all the time. Like Jay's actually cute and stuff. Movie Jay is basically how the fandom always interprets show Jay.
That's so true, isn't it? All the fan art for Ninjago, it's really movie Jay.
Yeah.
Well, again, like I have to say, I get how the comedy was done. He was way less annoying than the TV show, but like if you
He's less
boil it
whiny about
down,
stuff.
the traits are the same. He's like the
No, you're right.
scared, like
Listen,
coward kind of
I
like.
think that's
try
what
hard
we're
dude.
saying. The traits are the same and they're executed better from the get-go, from the initial
Yeah,
thing.
that's the point.
in the
Is
movie.
that
Right.
these characters are with the same base levels of these same base traits. I find more enjoyable to watch than I
Yeah.
did the TV show character.
I understand.
movie-
I get
from
that.
initially,
characters-
What I'm
from
responding to is the point that was
beginning.
made earlier was that these aren't the same characters as the TV show, so it's bad that they weren't developed because we can't connect with them. That's
Well,
what
I mean,
I'm
they're not the
responding
same
to.
characters.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
they're
right.
not, but they are enough. I was never once confused as to like who this.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
and like
course.
Mange,
No,
you
no.
never saw
I
the
don't-
show either, and you weren't either. Like.
I don't think anyone was trying to say that Kai is not Kai. Like he's just a different kind of Kai.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
Kai's
He's
a lot more
different
bro
person.
in this movie.
He's a different kind.
Yeah, he's very bro in this show, in this movie, which is fine. It's a different interpretation of the character, but you can't say like that is the same character from the TV show. You couldn't put that person and move him into the TV show, and everyone would just react the same way to him.
Yeah,
He's
no,
different now.
If you wrote
Nia
them the same,
and Kai's relationship are different now. It's
Very
different.
different.
These are different characters.
extremely different. Actually,
I also don't
Kai
think the
and
movie
Nia's
would have
relationship is really
benefited
different.
more from focusing on that relationship, though.
No one's disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait, we all
I
think,
think
that
John
the-
might be. He was about to say something.
No, I mean, no, I was saying that, like, it depends on what you mean by focusing on that relationship. I do think the movie should have focused more on the ninja as a whole, and that so you were saying that relationship, you mean, like, the relationship
Well,
between the ninja?
that's where you
Yeah.
get to diverge. I'm like, what separates this movie from like the Lego Movie? Where do you draw the line at an ensemble cast? That's my question.
So I was thinking
Emmett
about
was the main
different.
character of the Lego Movie,
Right,
and then he
but-
had his gang around him, like Metalbeard and Benny and Wildstyle and Batman, and none of them got
who
substantial
all had
character
great
development.
interactions.
They had a lot
especially
more time
so
to
compared
interact.
the interactions of exactly.
And additionally, okay, I'll give you the best example. In my opinion, it's the best example of a movie introducing an ensemble cast that sticks very, very well with everyone.
Here we go.
And that is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy does a very good job with if you watch that movie, you understand who all the characters are kind of at the end of it. They have good room to grow. No one came out of Guardians being like necessarily like they were complete. There's this one character had like 2 lines, you know, like they gave him the entirety of that room to grow. Now it came at the expense of the villain. The villain was not as well done, and with this one, they did put a lot of attention into the villain, and part of it has to take away from the interaction between the main characters, and I get that. I also get that Lloyd's the main character of this movie, and that relationship is a main factor in this movie. But overall, even if you look at something like Kung Fu Panda, the Furious Five are underused, but I don't feel it's as egregious because Furious Five aren't that great of characters anyways, to be honest. And
I feel
also,
it would have been better to
Yeah.
have the ninja meet for the first time in this
well,
movie,
here's what
instead
I
of
actually-
starting in the middle of their journey.
I think what would have been actually kind of interesting, and I don't know, Var, I know you have some ideas of how you would do the movie differently. I think it would be kind of interesting to have Lloyd be the newcomer into the already established group of ninja.
No, what I don't get.
Go on.
What?
Why? So the Ninjago team, they're supposed to be like this secret ninja team organization, whatever. Why are they a secret?
Are they? Well, I know their
They're like
identities are a
superheroes.
secret, but I don't think.
They
why?
retconned them to be like, because, you know, oh, they're going to target my family. It's just kind of the understood thing. Like, why do people have secret identities? That's kind of why.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes with like any
But they don't
superhero
explain
kind
that
of
in
thing.
the movie. It's just
No, they
they're
don't,
a
but I
secret
feel like
ninja
that's-
team just to be a secret ninja team.
When you do a superhero thing, though, that's kind of understood.
Yeah,
in the
they're
modern
kind of
era.
like the Power Rangers, you know? Like, why do the Power Rangers not show their identity? It's just kind of like a thing. I understand where you're coming from a little bit, but I also don't think that's a huge issue. For me, the huge issue is how much they focus on Garmadon without making his... They're trying to satire his motivation as a villain.
I don't know.
And they're also like trying to focus on him as an actual character, and those conflict. But keep going, what you were saying.
Well, I'd say it is a problem because it forces the whole the conflict with the Lloyd and Garmadon thing, where it's like Garmadon doesn't know that the Green Ninja is actually Lloyd, but that's like that's really the only time that the secret thing actually matters. You know, it's never a point of contention like, oh, but if the other ninjas reveal their identities, something bad's gonna happen. No, none of that really matters
I hear you.
in the long run. I feel like
Not too bothered, but I get you.
Yeah, no, I
it's just
understand
one of
too.
those things that's very
It's not something that
underdeveloped
bothers
and
me
forced.
for sure.
The family thing also kind of like falls apart when you realize that Misako was also a ninja as well, and a like,
Yeah.
really great, competent fighter. Anyhow, just
Love that
That just
sequence,
makes
by
me
the
wonder
way.
if she actually knew if Lloyd was the Green Ninja or not.
yeah, right.
Because
It's-
I mean, like,
She didn't.
that would be such an obvious connection if she already knew. Like,
I don't think she
has all
did
the
because
skills,
her
but-
her reaction
her
was
reactions
was
to
not-
Yeah, no, she
being
didn't know
told-
about it.
It would have been better
She-
written had she been like, of course he's the Green Ninja. You think like she's like I'm a ninja warrior. You think I
Yeah,
can't notice
like,
my son sneaking off?
That whole
But-
flashback
Like Master
scene
Wu
was
is like
top-tier.
hiding in plain sight. I guess
Well, actually,
he's just out there.
I feel like there were
doing
two
whatever
different
he
movies
wants.
written. I think the Misako was a warrior thing was written afterwards. To be completely honest, I feel like they wrote that into the movie later because it seems to come out of like it totally does not make sense with what
Well-
we know, and also the trailer that we saw. Her dialogue was cut from. She was like, "Oh, I thought
They
Garm
they
was
pulled an
just a-"
Iron Man 3 to completely like manufacture dialogue. that, like,
I
wasn't in the
don't
movie.
think so. I think that was part of an old script that they recorded, and then they overlaid over for the trailer, and they rewrote it. I don't think it was like that. Iron Man 3 is a diversion. They said we're going to purposely fool the audience. I don't think they purposely fooled the audience. I literally think they changed gears in that script.
Maybe the result's the same though. They just axe big scenes in the trailer. You know, I'm not gonna speculate about creator intent. That you're right. The result's the same. It was muddied. I saw like a post on Eurobricks talking about how the Lady Iron Dragon thing. It was set up by Nia once, and then the payoff, Nia wasn't even in the scene.
Yeah, no, she doesn't even say anything about it. Like,
That's
oh
that's
no,
not how
that's
you
my
do
hero.
like set up payoff. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. And also, in a similar vein,
And they
mentioned
opened a school together too.
they mentioned spinjitzu offhandedly without any
Yeah.
explanation of what it is, and then they never like. I guess spinjitzu is implied to be what Garmadon fights with. How he like spins all around and does crazy like body contorting tricks, and like the ninja kinda do it when they unlock their powers. Jay spins around like in the show, but it's not sold like an actual fighting style.
Can I also talk about how terrible the real world connection is in this movie?
Oh,
boy,
let's
here
talk
we
about
go.
that.
It's awful.
It's
Because what I want to do right now is start bringing up all the pointless stuff that they did in this movie.
that served no purpose. No, the kid.
Yeah,
the
it really
issue
didn't.
was the kid is having issue with his friends. He doesn't mention his dad at all. Why is Jackie Chan?
It doesn't
telling
make any
him
sense. It
story
doesn't
about
make any
his dad?
sense. I was ranting about this so much. It's so freaking stupid. It's so obviously tacked on. It's so by the books. It's like they just like checked off on the freaking Lego movie checklist, right? They were like, all right, cool. We got to get like family moral in the movie. Check. Oh, we got to make sure it connects to the real world. Check. It's so dumb. It has nothing to do with the plot at all.
It really doesn't. It's like Jackie Chan's like, hey, check out my wooden minifigure. You want?
Why does he have it? Why is it wood?
You're having problems with your friends. Let me tell you about this father and dad story about my Lego collection, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, the kid is outside. He's like, oh, it's implied the kid doesn't have any friends at the beginning. All right,
Why is
that's
it
his
wood?
issue. He's just sitting out there and he doesn't have any friends. And then Jackie Chan tells him this whole story about not fitting in with your friends, but about his
It's like
dad.
if they're gonna do that, they should have done something where like Lloyd is the new ninja and he's like getting used to the whole
That's
team
what
and all
I'm
that.
saying. That's what I was saying.
That's what I was saying too. There's two different movies here.
There's two
two different movies.
And
There's
the
one
other
focused on the
movie's
ninja
better.
and one focused on the father-son thing.
Yes.
And the ninja one is the better one.
The ninja
It's
one
the one
is
they
the
should have
best
gone
one.
with.
They should have done the one where.
Save me with positivity.
I mean, okay.
It's so dumb.
It's really-
It doesn't even make sense as to why it's a Lego movie. None of it connects to it being Lego either. It doesn't
Also,
make
it means
sense.
that correct me if I'm wrong, but it means it's not set in the same universe as the other two movies. Am I wrong in that?
I find no indication that it is.
Why? Wait, why?
It's
wouldn't
been a
it be?
common. It's been a common complaint on the internet. It's presented as a legend, the Legend of Ninjago. You know,
Oh.
What is?
it's not.
true.
But
What
what
does
is
that
that?
mean?
It's not
Legend
actually
to
like
who?
like the dude never has like a Lego set basement or whatever. There's no tangible
Right.
grounding that it's anything more than a story except the wooden
is
minifigure.
Were there like
Right.
So
ancient Lego
Could have just been
sets
no,
or
no,
sites
no,
on
you're
the
totally
garden or
right.
something.
Was
You're
that
totally
what the whole thing was? And the Master
No.
Wu over time just turned into a piece of
We
wood?
know that Ninjago exists,
Wood.
but that it's the TV show Ninjago
Master
exists. in the
Right,
Lego
because the
movie.
Green Ninja in the
Green
in
Ninja
the,
is Lloyd
in the Lego
Garmadon.
movie.
Garmadon, right?
But that's
from the-
clearly not the same Green Ninja as in this movie.
No, it's a different Green Ninja. It's a different. Yeah, I don't know if it's. I don't know how the universe works. That's the problem. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's connected just through the imagination of playtime, so technically it's still connected, or if the universe is literally tied to whoever's imagination
I
is.
saw
the
a
one
great
imagining
comment
it.
on Eurobricks that it's a bunch of different universes that only cross over at certain points, conventions, when people bring conventions.
Well, I mean, like it could
That's
though,
awesome.
right? Like if the Ninjago movie takes place in this kid's mind, right, and the Lego movie took place in this other kid's mind, and these two kids, met, became friends, and started playing together or something, then those universes could converge, right? That's where I think they could head with that. I don't know.
It wouldn't fit.
Will Ferrell
it
and
would've
Jackie Chan go to
literally-
the same convention.
100%. It would have been so contrived, but it would have made more sense had the freaking kid from the Lego movie been the kid in this movie,
I was quite surprised he wasn't.
right? Because like as contrived as that is, and I still wouldn't possibly like it.
It would have made more sense.
It would have
in
made more
terms
sense.
of
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just.
I'll be
anything.
honest, I kind of thought it was for granted that it would be. I was very surprised.
Yeah,
when
I
it
was very
wasn't.
surprised when it was this random kid who just showed
That's
up.
weird. I was expecting it to be a different guy.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a different kid. I don't know.
I think with like the real life aspect, I don't even mind them putting Jackie Chan in it. They could have just done a lot more different things. It could be Jackie Chan trying to connect with his estranged son, who's like grown up, and like maybe he was just he was hard on him.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like you can tell this stupid tacked-on live-action segment was so very last minute, and they didn't give any time at all to actually think about it. That
right.
it's so And the connections to anything don't make any sense. And any amount of thought towards making this actually make sense would have been enough. But
like,
it's so clear that they
scene
didn't.
was even tacked on, why wasn't it like better or well thought out? Like if they had made it at like the very beginning or whatever, then
Because
I could see it being like disconnected,
It's a
and they just didn't want
checklist.
to.
It's a checklist. This whole movie is just a checklist. It's a
That's,
stupid.
I definitely agree with that sentiment. Like the first
I
10
must
minutes of the movie
begrudgingly as
felt
well.
like a commercial. It didn't feel like the introduction to a
actually-
movie.
That's what.
like
This
commercial.
is my main point. Is
You
that
got,
this
like-
movie has no heart. It is just. It's clearly a movie that these guys were attached to make, and they had no actual desire
It's a
to
very
really.
And
make.
again,
commercialized
let
movie.
me
I don't know if I'd
clarify
say it
that.
has no heart.
No, I see the script
definitely
has
has
no
no
heart.
heart.
The script
It
has
has
no
heart.
heart. It has
It
heart.
has about as much
The
heart as
performances have
something
heart.
can
The
have.
designs have heart. All that stuff has heart.
It has
the
about as
script
much
of the
heart.
movie
The
has heart.
script.
Does
The
not have
script
heart.
has about as much heart as someone who looked at other more successful movies and said, "I want to do that." And that's one of my biggest complaints with the movie. I know you guys are gonna like tear the script down about the moral message or whatever. I felt like it was about as good as the others in the same way that like something can be when it's combined and then watered down. This movie is literally if you made a worse version of the other two movies and stuck them together.
Well, okay,
because it has the be
That's
yourself.
why it has no heart,
It has
though.
the be yourself, recognize your true potential, and father-son dynamics of the Lego Movie. But it also has the family
That doesn't
message
sound
and
like-
the narcissistic.
No, that's not.
I don't think
That doesn't sound like it has heart. That sounds like it's a wannabe.
That sounds
In
like
a
it's
sense.
a checklist. That sounds
It's
like
not- it
okay,
sounds fake.
people came to the Lego Movie and the Batman movie for a specific reason. It was nice moral lessons tied to real world. Has Lego in it. All right, we got to do all three of those things in our movie. That's what it was.
That's
it was
certainly
no
how I
heart
would
at
look
all.
at it. But I see it like it's the same message, just executed worse.
No.
No. You can't.
like-
Okay.
If it had heart, then the movie would be trying to tell you something. This one isn't telling you anything that they haven't already told you. That's why there's no heart here, because they didn't have anything to say when they
Couldn't
made the movie.
decide on what to say.
Yeah, they didn't know what they wanted. They just made a movie and they've checked off everything on the list.
It was just like taking what they thought was the moral of the Lego Movie, which isn't actually. I feel the Lego Movie. The reason why I think the Lego Movie works so well is because the moral in that movie is multi-layered, right? It's beyond just like that. You think originally it's gonna be like, just be creative and be yourself and don't worry about following instructions. But halfway through the movie, they're like, oh yeah, if you do your own thing, you guys don't work as a team all too well. Sometimes you do need to follow the instructions to work together. And it's like, oh, okay, wow, you're adding another layer to that. That's great. And then on top of
There
that,
you go.
you build, and also, don't be so rigid that you don't let your kids play with something. It's supposed to be a creative thing, but also, don't go too crazy with it. And then, like, it's about reaching that middle and that compromise, and that's what made the Lego Movie more good. The Lego Batman, it's less than the Lego movie, the Lego Batman movie, but the reason why it works so well is because it's about the
It's
Batman
Bruce
character.
Wayne's character.
Right,
about
exactly.
the characters.
This character's been around for a long while, and like every time he does something that's a little selfish, you realize, like when he's like he puts Batgirl and Alfred and Robin in the Batmobile and takes them away. It's not because he's just selfish. It's because Robin shows him the selfie that he remembers taking as a kid, and the last time he had a family, they got murdered by a robber. So he's not going to let that happen again, and he's putting him away. And that is the core of the character to this long-running 80-year character that's been around forever that
To be
everyone
fair,
knows.
that requires prior knowledge of Batman to appreciate.
Yeah, I know, but like at the same time, that moral works on multiple levels.
And I
That's what
do
I'm
feel
saying.
like
That's why I feel like that movie has a lot of heart to it, though. It's because
Right, exactly.
they based the character motivations and the moral of the movie all around the character that the movie is about.
Right.
And they took from the elements that the character's been in before, and they borrowed from all that. They did their research. They brought all of those things together to make a message that this movie could actually give to
comprehensible
people.
message too.
And one that appealed to
The
families.
movie that we got has nothing to do with Ninjago.
outside
and
of the
it's
fact
like-
that
it's
it's
just-
not in the
It's so
like,
clear, like,
Dragon
okay,
Ball
that first scene,
outside.
that first scene, right? Okay, with Jackie Chan, all right?
Right.
Before the movie actually starts,
Right.
he tells the kid, all right, the problem is you're looking at it a certain way. What you need is a new perspective. What was the new perspective?
Well, you need to treat your dad better.
Exactly.
What was it? He didn't answer the question! We don't know because the
Calm
movie
yourself.
doesn't know!
Calm
It's
yourself,
so
man.
stupid!
Oh boy. So
It could have been so easy. All you have to do is just think about it. Freaking, why is the kid here? Why is he, like, why doesn't he have friends? I don't know. Maybe he's getting picked on. Maybe he's getting bullied. Why does he have a little Lego Lloyd figure? Because he likes Lego. How does it tie into Lego? Because the kid likes Lego. Why is the kid getting bullied? Because maybe the kids think playing with Lego is really, really lame. So they pick on the kid. They ruined his Lloyd figure. That's why the figure's screwed up, right? And that's why he had to run to this stupid shop, because he hates these kids and he's trying to get away from society or whatever. Anything like that ties into Lego, ties into the kid, ties into the backstory, and
Jackie
you
Chan
can talk
sees
about the
him
moral
kung fu
being.
and he beats up the bully.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't need to do that. Jackie Chan can have his own.
Kung Fu. Jackie
okay.
Chan goes out.
The
trains
lesson
him,
that Jackie
he becomes
Chan
the
tries
new
to tell-
Karate Kid. They go out and beat up all the other kids, and it's perfect. The movie's sold. You got Jackie Chan.
Jackie
you got the
Karate Kid
Kung
too.
Fu. You got the moral. You got the kids.
You got
beating
Jaden
up
Smith.
kids.
Jaden Smith should have been the kid.
And then, like Jackie Chan could have his own Lego collection or something, right? That could be how it ties into Lego. It doesn't really matter. The idea here is that everything needs to actually have a point to it. It can't just be random. It can't just be not explained. If it's going to actually tie into the movie or set things up, it needs to actually set things up. What is this perspective thing?
Yeah, exactly.
No one knows. The perspective could be, hey kid, who cares about what other people think about you? Do what you like, be passionate about what you like, and be yourself. And that's the moral of the movie, and why the journey for the ninja to find who they truly are inside and unlock their elemental powers makes sense. What
Yeah,
doesn't make sense
that's how
is
it
a
should
plot
have been.
about a father and a son! It makes no sense at all!
The father isn't even in the movie, so why is he telling the story to the kid? There's nothing about it that
There's
makes
nothing
okay,
about
okay.
a dad!
Okay,
If Jackie Chan was his dad, maybe,
Movie
but
could
he's
have been
not!
So, what's funny is they could have even kept a similar first act structure if they had simply done that moral better, because they could have drawn parallels to the kid getting bullied like Lloyd, but they didn't do it. You're totally right about that one. I don't know.
And not even that too. It's like on top of everything that they build on with this movie and how it doesn't have direction and everything. Not only does it not have heart, it feels like the people who made this don't even have heart for old martial arts films.
Okay.
You know?
Right!
I
Where was the
can I
martial
say-
arts
can I say
stuff?
my
Martial
biggest problem with the
arts
movie?
in this movie.
I feel that we were sold a different movie. I feel like the advertising for this movie was a complete falsehood on both fronts. If you're going to talk about martial arts, I'm going to bring up a phrase that was used when this movie was announced. Kaiju battles.
Yeah, that
Sure.
would have been way cooler.
Yeah, that also would have been
Where was
cool.
it? Where were
It
the
would've-
battles?
Maybe there would have actually been a final battle. if
Where
there
were the
kaiju
battles?
instead.
I want to know, because I never got one. The mechs were destroyed halfway through the movie after fighting random mooks, and they never showed up again.
No,
martial
they-
arts.
they never even fight.
This movie was billed as having Jackie Chan fight choreography. There's really only one scene he could have realistically done fight choreography for, and that's Garmadon versus Wu. And even then, that scene
Yeah.
had a lot of crazy stuff that can't really be choreographed, like crawling underneath a bridge and coming up the other side, and all this crazy stuff.
that
There were
was-
I mean, that
very
fight
few
was
fight
pretty
scenes.
cool.
No, I thought it was good. The issue is, I'm talking about even from Batman, you could tell that the people writing it, especially from the first 10 minutes, these are people that have watched superhero movies. Because who hasn't watched a superhero movie? And they parody that, and you can tell that love is there, that heart is there. Beyond just
Right.
a love for the character, it's a love for the type of genre the movie's in. I could
This
understand.
movie had very few parallels
Exactly.
to Kung Fu, and also even Ninjago,
Even anime.
because they never did.
Even
they never
just,
did
just
Spinjitzu.
straight up anime. If this was a homage, if they decided, hey, you know what, Ninjago is just basically an anime. Let's just do an homage to anime, and we'll take the tropes and we'll play off that, and we'll do something like that, and we'll make this kind of this love letter to all this stuff beforehand. This could have been. You could have done so many things. It could have been a love letter to mech stories and it could have been
Studio Mirror
love,
Ninjago Netflix show.
It could have
This
been
could
a
have
freaking.
been good.
It could have been a love letter to Jackie Chan
Honestly,
films.
you're talking about the script, and you're totally valid, but those are my biggest problems with the movie. That we were sold something that was not actually shown. All of the action was not what was described. A lot of the action, as live studio audience member Jade Indy points out in the chat, a lot of the footage that was shown in the trailer of action scenes and montages was shoved into a news broadcast.
Which
fridge
was
scene,
so-
the fridge scene.
Can
which
we
is
talk about the news
amazing.
broadcast thing for a
I'll
second?
explain specifically. The news broadcast was terrible. If anyone remembers this, it reminded me of the start of Nexo Nights, which wasn't good
yeah.
and was what caused me to not get into the show. Was it introduced the characters and the premise and the plot and the world through this annoying news broadcast.
It was so annoying.
It was
I
annoying,
don't understand what the point of it
unfunny.
was. I guess the point of it was to
Exposition
introduce everything.
dump.
Exposition, right. But it was so unfunny and so obnoxious that that made me look at the exit too. I was like,
No.
This is, I can already tell this movie's not going to be my thing.
The Good Morning thing was just
Like, what?
bad. Just bad.
All the stupid fonts and text and like bang sound effects and stupid noises that were happening. It's like, what?
Oh man, that reminds
God.
me.
Who is
Time
this
to
kid
bring
for?
up another weird.
Okay.
Is it the stuff? Is it the thing with the
Okay.
ultimate weapon?
Let's
How about
talk
when,
about
when,
this.
when Master Wu or whoever brings up the ultimate
Ultimate
weapon,
weapon,
Yeah.
and then
they have this weird
Yeah.
montage. What is that?
What was that? Whose idea was
Not
that?
only was
What
that like creepy as heck, but it went on so long, and then they freaking repeated it.
You know, I found
did
more
it again.
annoying than that was the mech dragon shooting the missiles.
That too.
Oh, that was garbage.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if you're gonna repeat a joke, you have to shorten it.
The first time
If you're gonna repeat a joke, at least actually have it be funny to begin with.
the first time, even like it's not funny, but I'm like I can kind of see the humor behind the idea a little bit. So okay, the second time I'm like no.
I appreciated the.
Yeah.
I appreciated the effort the first go around. The
Right.
second time, I was like, "Are you serious?"
I was like,
Like,
and they
They're
didn't.
just gonna
Again?
repeat it the whole scene at full length,
And
just
they
not
cou-
even speeding it up or anything.
They couldn't even get the voice actors to say it way quicker, and they couldn't even or not even edit it to make it sound like she's saying all the things at once, and they just do it again but quicker. You know, they don't do that. They don't even take that effort to make.
I don't know if
Just
you guys
they
noticed.
reused so much footage
was a
in
lot
this.
of
Yeah, I was about to say that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they reused that entire second like fight scene. It was
No,
just the
yeah.
first fight scene we saw again.
Yeah.
Yep.
They reused so much footage, even
Quite
from like
peculiar.
even from just like one character talking to another character. It was hilarious.
Yeah, they did that. Yep.
It has
You,
to be
you have like
rewrites.
Zane talking to Kai, right? So he'll say something. Then we cut to Kai. He'll say something. And then we cut back to Zane saying a different thing, but it's the exact same shot that they
And
just
the same
used.
animation.
Exact
Yeah.
Same
Animation.
animation entirely and everything, but with a
quite
different
strange.
line over it.
It has to be budgetary things or script rewrites.
They did it multiple times.
Nothing like this happened in the other movies, and it was quite evident.
But yeah, I mean, I get that. And
It's really bad.
I can't understand why though. Why after having this amount of time to do something, and why after having like the cast that you have, because again, I feel like the script is the weakest part of this, but the cast makes up for it. The cast. It's saved, not even saved, but like the actual cast that they have working on the movie feel like they mesh well together. You know, I feel the dynamic whenever they have group scenes together where I'm like, okay, I like seeing all these guys together. Even with Garbodon, the whole cast fit in together really well. If that one scene in the jungle, so to me, it comes out of the
If
thing
I
where
ever rewatch this movie, I could easily see myself skipping through most of it.
right, exactly.
I would.
Yeah.
I'd skip the entire first arc. I know you
Yeah,
guys
I'd
have
skip
like
the
first,
first
act,
arc. I'd like skip through bits of the second one because I honestly got really bored with the movie. For the most part. Oh yeah, that's another thing I didn't really touch upon. I felt really
Bored.
bored watching this movie.
Same.
There was
wasn't bored.
there was a halfway point in the movie where I was on my phone and I saw you guys
Yeah.
in the chat in call talking about it, and I'm like, I wish this movie
I
was
feel
over so I
like-
could talk
I
to
was
him.
pretty
There
consistent.
were. I feel like there were only like
It was boring.
one or two scenes where I was like actively like really watching the movie. One was when they were in that weird like camp with all the fired first generals trying to escape and all that, and then the other was the Coco flashback, how she met Garbodon and all that.
Yep. The point where Lloyd revealed his identity, which I realized was the middle of the movie because I mean it followed the formula.
You
know,
pointed that out to
the
me. You
fir-
said we're in the middle of the movie, and I said no, we're not. We're in the first act. You're like, no, it's been an hour. We're in the middle of the movie, and I looked at my clock and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
they can't even
Once
do
it
the
got to that
5% plot
point,
right.
That's when I realized like, wow, I can't wait for this movie to be over. I got a little excited realizing that the movie was halfway done because I felt like I got nothing out of the first half. Just
I will
some
say
pretty
that
cool looking
that,
action, but
I will admit that
nothing.
honestly, the part that I was the most bored at was when the mechs were around.
yes,
Not because it wasn't well animated, because it was, but I felt like it was action overload to the point where there
Yep.
was so much stuff happening.
It was
I
like
didn't
Transformers.
Really get anything. It was just like a Michael Bay movie,
yep, it was.
and
it
that's
didn't
not a
mean-
good feeling when you,
It didn't
you're
mean
trying to
anything
sell toys.
either. Because, like,
Nope.
I don't know why they put this in the beginning of the movie, because, like, it's at the start of the movie, so nothing here is going to actually matter.
Right.
No one's going to actually get harmed here. The city's going to be fine. Nothing's going to actually happen because it's at the start of the movie.
Okay.
There are no stakes.
There's no stakes to this fight, so
Think
I don't know
about-
why they're doing this.
They
The
should have
movie
had
got
the
interesting
first part of
in
the
the
movie.
last half because there were stakes all of a
Right.
sudden.
And because, like, also, I want to talk about Miafra in a second. I think they could have completely flipped the movie, had the first part been them fighting as ninjas with, like, the Jackie Chan choreography and the hand-to-hand combat, and that's what they do at the beginning. And then they try to discover their elemental powers, and at the end they become master builders, and if the story is about you finding who you are inside your true potential, they build their own mechs based off who they are, and that's why they have all these creatively cool mechs. And
that utilizes their elements that they
like their
just
elements that
uncovered.
they just uncovered,
Yes.
and that's
That
what.
was so
And then that's their
Exactly.
It's like their dragons, kind of. Except
It would've
That
been
would have
much
fit
more
perfectly with my
satisfying
introduction
that way.
to guys.
And that's what they
We just
built.
wrote a better movie.
Just 1 hour. 1 hour we
Ninjago
sat
movie
down.
G2.
That's. I mean,
Edition.
why?
Can we do
Not
that?
even an hour, like less than 55
Who
minutes.
did?
Not to toot our own horn, but I definitely would have been more satisfied seeing that.
Because that has
Hire us,
payoff.
Lego.
At the end,
It
the
has
mechs
payoff,
and,
and
all
it
the
adds
sets
value
have
to the
payoff.
sets. If you want
Right.
to sell these sets, you don't make the first 10 minutes of the movie
Trash
literally just
them.
a commercial.
They're like, they
Yeah, and you
smash them by
don't
your
trash them. You
be fair,
introduce
they all
them in
got
the
more
most
screen time
awesome
than
way
most-
ever.
most
You
of the
build
other
up to
movies.
these sets. Build up. Get it?
Right.
You build up to the awesomeness of the mechs using a way
The
similar
only,
to that.
the only
Well,
thing
I
I,
mean-
will say in defense is that most of the other Lego movies sets either didn't feature at all.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
also
I was-
got destroyed
Lego
quickly.
Batman.
The
for
Lego
sure.
movies
Oh,
sets
yeah,
were
okay,
almost
fair enough.
entirely throwaway civilian vehicles, and the
Right.
Lego
That
Batman
were-
movie, most of them did not happen at all. Or
but
they did
you
it
know
in the
what?
villain montage.
You know what? Was, like in the villain.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the difference. All right, the goal the reason why the mechs were featured in this movie was to play them up. They're obviously very prominent. Obviously, Lego wanted us to see the mechs and how awesome they are, so that we.
I'm
could
with
go
you.
buy
I
them.
didn't want to get them
They
destroyed.
didn't have the same agenda with the last two movies. Well, actually, I would disagree with the Lego movie. I think they did play up those sets quite well.
Yeah,
they
and
did
they all
feature a
incorporated in
lot
the-
of
the
those
final
sets
battle.
being rebuilt.
Yeah.
Think about the big construction robot. That was built
again. Biggest
And,
deal about this movie.
the
They
jet.
actually all the other.
No.
sets
Actually,
came
no.
in the third
What you're
act.
saying? The jet. That's the biggest comparison from the
jet.
Lego Movie 1. The one that freaking Benny built
Yeah,
up. Like
the
he
spaceship.
wanted to build this freaking jet.
The
This
spaceship,
freaking spaceship.
man.
All
Yeah.
movie.
Spaceship,
At the end of the movie, he finally got to build it, and it was awesome, and it killed everything. It was so cool. That's the set that I immediately want to buy after that movie.
Yep.
I have
That's the
that
best
set.
comparison. That's
I
exactly
don't
what
want
we're
to buy
talking
the
about.
fire mech.
No.
The thing is,
Because
that thing's a
from-
piece of poo-poo.
From someone
it
that
gets
bought the
destroyed.
fire mech beforehand, I really do not care that it was gone that quick into the movie. TBH.
Nice.
Well, no,
I don't care. It was worth it to me either way.
No, it's
you go, man.
all
Fight
the
the
sets
power.
are still really good. The only issue is they're individually tied to the characters,
Plebs.
and they don't tie into the third act. And honestly speaking, there is no third act. There's no final battle. There's nothing. Meowthra.
No
Let's
final
talk
battle.
about
It's like a
the stupid cat.
conversation. That's
Let's
not
talk about the
even
stupid cat.
like about the cat or anything. It's just Lloyd talking to Garmadon
I feel like-
again.
Yeah, that part didn't make
Another
sense to me.
pointless
I
thing in this
actually-
movie.
I must
The
say
cat.
that the cat was pointless. We all knew it was going to be stupid the moment they showed the trailer. I must say I think it was handled better than I had feared.
Are you
I'll be
feared
honest, I
that-
did
I
like the
feared
cat
that
more
the
than I was
cat-
expecting.
Are you
but
I
serious?
feared that the
right
cat
now?
would be the cat. I feared would be the third
Uh-oh.
act twist that would force the ninja and the Garmadon to team up. And we
mean
said,
the
let me
Garmadon?
talk. Let me talk.
Whoa!
Just say you're like you are. I'm talking. That's what I am.
Whoa!
oh god.
Let's get mad.
Nessa, I told you I wanted a smaller cast.
I should have listened to you.
I
No.
warned you.
With the cat, what they did, it was a subversion tactic. We all thought they spoiled the third act of the movie. They didn't. The cat was introduced in Act 1 and then faded into the background as Garmadon was still the villain, which is not what I thought would happen. I thought the cat would be the catalyst for Garmadon to unite with the ninja. They subverted that possible outcome, and I must give them credit for it.
I will not give them credit because what they did was way worse. Because I thought, here's what I thought when I saw the cat. Oh man, this last movie is just going to be one giant battle of the stupid cat. No, it's not. There's nothing
Not
at the
even.
end. There's literally nothing. So they didn't subvert anything. What they thought is, oh, you think there's a villain to this movie? Ha, ha. Ha! You think there's
Joke's
a
on
fight?
you.
You think there's something going on at the last part of this movie? You think they're building up to something?
You think there's gonna actually be a final battle?
You think that I actually thought for 1 second, no, here's what happened. Someone in the back, some guy in the theater, sat his butt down on the remote and actually hit the skip button, and it skipped that, and that's why we're at the resolution at the end when he's talking to
Wait,
Garmadon.
did
That's
he
what had to
actually
happen.
do anything to go up to the cat?
No,
or
no.
did he just walk up to the
It
cat?
was a
He walked up to
montage.
the cat.
It was like he just
He
walked
walked
up.
up to the cat.
that was like,
So I was like, wait, is it
Why
over?
didn't the
Are
cat
they
eat
done?
Lloyd too?
I know
Like
how
it
you
ate
feel.
Garmadon. Why shouldn't it like not eat Lloyd?
How is the cat not
Yeah.
evil at the end of the film? They don't even say. They don't even give him anything. They don't even. You know, the
Well,
ultimate
because
Yeah,
they
he
named
always
the
talks to
mascot. Why would
Garmadon
you
and
want
gives him
that
this
for a
little-
mascot?
the ultimate weapon isn't
Yeah.
like catnip or something, right? Where it would be like, oh, of course, that's the thing that would get Meowthra to
It's
go
like
away.
it's the power that's inside you, but they don't even use that power to defeat the cat.
They don't.
They did use it to get into the city, though. They fought off Garmadon's
Yeah,
army, cold it as like ground.
Yeah, but why is that the
punch
ultimate
thing.
Why
weapon
did they
then?
need to get to the
Just
city? Nothing
skating on the
happened.
water.
Who are they
It was
fighting?
weird.
Who are they fighting
I
in the
will
city
say
besides
that
the generals?
My opinions on the third act were quite exactly the same until I had to think about it afterwards, and I was like, oh, okay, I thought the third act was gonna start when they went to the city. It should have, but really the third act started when they got to the Garmadon house. And when you look at it from that perspective, the ninja did fight Garmadon when he was trying to get the chest, and while that wasn't impressive, really, it was the only one. It was one of two hand-to-hand combat battles in the whole movie, which is what I felt was sold to us. So, just saying.
No.
I mean, that's objectively
That-
true. Whether you think
I-
it's handled well or not, though, that is
That's
what they were
not
doing.
a.
That is the
I don't
third
think
act.
that's objectively true.
No, I don't agree with
No,
that.
because okay, listen. Objectively true. You know what? Objectively true. There's a 3-act structure to stories. All right, you have. Which is what you have. You have a setup. You have the initial beginning. Then you have a conflict, and the conflict gets resolved in the climax and the resolution, which is in the third act. The problem is what you're talking about is not a resolution at all. It's a never compounding thing that leads into the climax. You know what the climax is? Lloyd talking to the cat. That's the climax. That's the third act, because that's how a 3-act structure works.
No,
So
but
no,
the Act
that's not-
One ended with Meowthra entering the fray. Act 2 began
Right.
with them going to the jungle and ended when they got to the Garmadon house and
No,
escaped from
that's not
the,
what happened.
people.
Thematically, that's not how a 3-act structure works.
No.
The 3-act structure starts with the resolution of the conflict and what happens after. It's the end of the 3-act structure is the climax of the movie and the resolution. The climax of the movie and the resolution is when they enter the city. That's when it happens. That's the in the plot-wise, that's the end of the movie, because Garmadon fighting everybody and running off is not a resolution by any means. That doesn't do it. All that does is build up to the conflict where they need to start. They really need to stop Garmadon, and that's all the point where they get together and say, okay, we need to really, we need to band together and stop Garmadon, guys. And when Lloyd unlocks his true potential and everything, once they escape the Garmadon house, that's the start of the third act, because that's where the climax and the resolution starts to happen.
Here, let me show you guys something. This is what I was referring to earlier when I said that all movies kind of follow a similar structure.
There we go.
in
That's
terms
that's
of what
that's one of the slides they
happens when.
showed me in class for screenwriting.
The midpoint is when the midpoint I'd say is when Lloyd reveals his identity, because that is when everything that you see build up from the very beginning changes
Yeah,
Right.
the turning point.
and starts to decline.
Pinch 2, I would say, is where Garmadon turns against them, and that's like their second thing where we're like, oh no, we thought we would get the ultimate weapon, and now Garmadon has it. The second turning point is where Lloyd tells everybody, you have the power within you, and they unlock all of that, and that's where they stand up and they go to the city, and that's the climax, and then there's the ending.
Yeah, the pacing for the movie starts to rise, it starts to climb. There's a build up to something to pay off
Right.
of just discovering our powers. But when we get to the city with our newly found powers,
There's nothing.
nothing.
There's
There's
nothing.
nothing.
Right.
Nothing actually
That's-
happens.
It's just bizarre to me that they couldn't scrape up in their budget. Like they had a bunch of fight scenes. They just put them in like a
They-
newsreel
Yeah, they
montage.
placed them.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
why. I don't know why they
placed them
placed it
weirdly.
how they did.
I
It
don't
was
know
quite
why
bizarre.
either. I wouldn't have minded a montage at the very beginning to show the ninja fighting against Garmadon and then having a long action scene at the end.
It should have been very brief.
You know,
It was far too
right. They established the characters, established the show and where it's going.
I mean, that exposition dump was like 10 to 15 minutes long.
That's also
way
true.
too long.
It was crazy.
Cut scenes, re-edited scenes. It was It was a mess. The editing was one of the worst things.
Yeah, it was really bad.
God,
Like,
it
okay,
was
that-
awful.
that's
If
that's
you
the thing we
just
keep talking
if
about.
you
Like
took
the
what was
writing.
there and you cut it up differently, it'd be better. It might not be good. It'd
Yeah.
be better than what we got.
I think that you could absolutely make a cut of this movie that's actually really watchable. I actually kind of want to try and experiment with that.
I
Once it's
was
on
thinking
DVD,
about that
but-
honestly. Like I was like, what if we could just
Do
cut up
it.
or do a thing with like what if episode 1 was good and we like redo like a brainstorm episode where we go through the Ninjago movie and then like we cut up the footage.
Yeah.
And we narrate over it.
Because like because like we keep harping on the writers for screwing up this movie, but the editing also was just not great.
Editing's
It
not
wasn't
good.
great at all.
Yeah, nope.
So I don't know, man. This was a weird movie. I
There's
wanted to
a lot
make
of technical flaws.
I was telling Meso that I kind of wanted a review of the movie to end up being a brainstorm episode because I knew that we would end up like sitting here trying to talk about all the changes we would make to it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You should do it.
I want to do that so badly because I mean I've already been I was thinking on my I know you have stuff that you thought of that you also want to talk about. I was on the plane back. I was like, what if we just redid this, and what if we made the focus this, and what if the ending was more like that? And that's where like all the stuff about the mechs, they're the true potential of the ninja.
Well, really,
They
also,
build them
there's
at
a
the
billion
end.
different ways you could fix the movie. You can do radical changes, or you can do subtle changes, like making the moral stronger with a real life connection, making the kid get bullied, playing down the father and son element in favor of the ninja. There's a billion different ways you could fix it. It's quite sad they went with none of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like it's a shame too because I did like the father son thing. It was
Same.
fine.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It just didn't tie into anything else of the movie. It was too much of its own thing, and it took away from the other elements that could have made the movie stand out. Like, I think that the scene where Lloyd is actually talking to his dad was pretty powerful, and like, for me, coming from like a divorced family, like that actually did kind of hit me in the heartstrings. But it just didn't have any place.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was inconsistent with the rest of the movie. It didn't belong in this movie.
It honestly felt like, I mean, if you look at, again, I mean, Guardians, right? You have the thing where they have the ensemble cast in the first movie, and they focus on the father-son plot in the second one, after you get a chance to know all the characters and stuff. And sure, I would say in Guardians 2, the characters are focused on a little less the other characters, but that's fine, because you already know who they are, and you still get to see them interact with each other. It doesn't really...
Yep.
cut
Cut out
into
that 40-minute fight scene with the mechs, and instead, I think the number one way to make this movie better, I think I'm gonna stick to this going forward. The ninja have to meet for the first time in this movie. You can't do this
Right,
established thing, because that way, just like in the show, they meet
Yeah.
each other. Lloyd gets recruited into the ninja force.
I would say that, again, what I thought
they
is
talk,
that-
they learn their skills together, and then there's a threat, gotta fight it. Midpoint, Lloyd's identity gets outed, etc., etc., etc.
I think it could have been a good thing about almost like a prejudice thing where it's like the five ninja are already in the ninja group. They've been there for a while.
It did kind of feel like we were watching a sequel to a movie we never saw.
Right, exactly, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then the thing is like Lloyd feels like he doesn't fit in. Even the song in the movie at the end is like, I found my place. I was like, what? Who's that song about? Because Lloyd already is friends with everybody at the beginning. He's bullied by everyone else. But he had a
He very
place.
much had a place.
He had a close
Well,
group
with
of friends.
those
to
friends,
hang out
not
with.
at like school or anything.
Yeah, but you don't need anyone else.
But
the moral, like you don't need to be popular.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not a
a-
moral we should be telling people.
Yeah.
I do feel like they did a
your
moral
friends
180.
are the friends the only friends you need.
They did a moral 180 because I was honestly, truly expecting Garmadon to stay against Lloyd. I thought the reason they did that whole thing was like, I tried to change, it didn't work, and I legitimately thought the movie was going to end with Garmadon still a villain.
Which you could have done if the moral was about being
Yes.
true to yourself.
Exactly.
And the moral would have been like, if you want to do that moral, you could also do the moral kind of like Batman, where the family isn't the people you're related to; it's the people around
But
you.
also-
and the ninja are his friends. I don't need my evil dad, but instead, it all worked out.
No. It's also like a thing where that's a multi-layered moral too, where it's like be yourself, but also realize you can't be evil. Like you can be yourself, but there is a limit where you're like, no, you're going too far, dude. You do need to care about don't care what other people think of you, but if you're a jerk to them, you also need to think about how
Yeah,
other people
it's
perceive
like
you. Right?
don't care unless you're actively hurting people.
Right,
then
exactly,
you should
like,
probably care a lot.
There's
Right.
a limit where you should care about people. That's a moral you don't always see in kids' movies. That would have worked because Lloyd is trying to figure out, oh, I want to be myself, but I don't want to be like my dad, who is like himself, and he's a terrible guy. That's already
Exactly.
there. You
The
could
balance
make
between that, yeah.
Exactly. Make
Prentice
that
1215 says, "Isn't he? Does he ever say I'm going to stop attacking the city? It just ends." He doesn't, but the implication by showing scenes where Lloyd, Coco, and Garmadon are like happy as a family, like eating out or whatever.
yeah.
The implication is they're a family unit now, and that would not happen if Garmadon was still attacking the city because Lloyd wouldn't stand for that.
And like on top of that too, like just to be like, even if people in your life aren't the best influence on you, you can still, you don't necessarily need to be influenced by them. You don't need to. You can break out of that cycle.
Oh God, that's so good.
And it's right there.
That's way better.
It's right there, right?
It's right
It's
there.
exactly-
You have your main character's father is the villain of the movie,
and you went the easy
it
way
writes
out.
like
itself.
Star Wars.
Like, imagine if the kid came to Jackie Chan. He's like,
It's
my
Darth
friends
Vader
hate me
and
because they think
Luke
I'm a
all
jerk.
over
And Jackie
again.
Chan's like, what if you are a jerk? And the kid's like, oh, huh. I didn't really think about that, but I thought I was just being bullied. But what if I am just kind of a jerk to all my friends, and I need to find that balance between being who I am and liking myself, and also not being kind of a a jerk to everybody about it.
That's a
Right
thought.
there. Come on, guys. Why?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't. I feel like we ragged on the movie a lot.
We shouldn't wrap up, but we should start wrapping up in the process.
I do.
Oh, just
I like stuff about the
have
movie.
we already talked about? Yeah, have we already talked about like Lloyd's element and all that?
No.
Or,
Well,
okay,
I feel like that
I
was one of the
did-
positive changes.
I did really like that. Like from a longtime fan perspective, Lloyd's element has always been like this vague green energy. But in the movie,
Power.
it's like explained to be like life. Like green is the color of like plants and life, and that connects everyone, which I thought was
really
really
appreciate
cool.
I thought that
Lloyd,
was really good.
Lloyd
too.
has no actual
Yeah,
power.
I actually honestly
movie.
did not get that until you explained it.
Yep.
Oh. Well,
Probably
there you
because
go.
I stopped paying attention to the movie because it bored me to tears.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that
But
I
with
feel
that
they
said,
did deliberately.
I do appreciate that.
They did
Right.
deliberately in response to the show and the criticism it's received over the years. And I give them credit for that. I will also halfway take away that credit by saying that if it was in any other movie, I would hate that moral. It's only because of the TV show that it works. The thing, the power was inside of you the whole time, and this one dude so special he can bring it out of other people. It's
The journey to one.
the complete cliche,
no,
but
actually,
it works
I,
in this universe.
I don't actually think it's a cliche. I think
Yeah.
the cliche is looking deep inside of you and you'll find that power within, and then the
But it's
person
not
literally
usually, like, a
does do
literal
that, and he
power.
literally, he literally gets a power. But here, it's a metaphorical one. It's not so much that Lloyd actually does have a hidden
Lloyd has
power
no
deep
power.
within him. His power, though, is that his ability to connect everybody and inspire them and make them, good around him. That's his power, and I think that is not that much of a cliche. I don't really see many movies with that being,
Right.
the point.
Everyone says, look inside you, you'll find the strength, and then they have superpowers, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right, exactly.
And this is a subversion of that, where it's like, this would also have worked.
Like,
Again,
no, the hero doesn't have superpowers.
imagine,
In fact, he's got
imagine
no
the
powers
theme-
at all.
Imagine the theme where
5 out of
Lloyd
6 of the
comes into
cast did have that.
Lloyd comes into the new ninja group, and they all have elemental powers. He's like, where am I going to get one? And they're like, you're going to find it. You have to unlock your true potential, man. And if you just focus in on yourself and you believe in yourself, you'll find it. And he does that, and he's like, no, I don't find it. Where is it? And he's like, well, sometimes you just got to make the most of what you have. Even if you don't have, superpowers, you can still.
Yeah, sometimes you're just not.
You're not.
And that would have
special.
worked.
Yeah.
That would have worked if the rest of the ninja already had him, but Lloyd might not have followed the cliche, but he enabled 5 out of 6.
And
of
to
the
be fair, that's
cast to
kind of
follow
the
that
moral of the
cliche.
Lego movie a little bit too, because Emmett does inspire a lot of people, even though he's not a
Yeah, that's
master
true.
builder. So fair enough. That's a bit of a retread. I'm not going to say that's the perfect
But I
solution.
still do appreciate it simply from a TV show fan perspective. It was nice. I actually liked Lloyd for a change. Other things, I'm legitimately trying. I did not really like the action, except for the Wu versus Garmadon fight and the ninjas versus Garmadon quote-unquote
This,
fight
the montage,
scene.
the montages they have when they
I like
actually
that.
utilize that was really good. And I was hoping.
Unlike some here,
Good.
I liked the comedy. Most of it. I didn't like the repeated jokes.
Comedy.
I didn't really like the long, drawn-out conversations, which I found have kind of become a Lego movie staple, where the joke is that these two characters will just talk for a minute on end. Just kind of I think it's
improv.
It is improv, and I do find it funny sometimes. There were a few instances in this movie where it dragged on because Lloyd and Garmadon had this conversation 3 times where they were like, "Is there any other reason why?" And then it was oh, subversion.
Yeah. Okay.
I,
And then,
I
is there
personally
any
really like
other
that
reason?
dialogue for something I mean maybe it went on a little too long, but for some reason that just cracked me up.
That's
so
cool. I mean,
much.
I
was
liked it too at the start. It just for me, it went on a bit too long. But you're right. I did laugh at it to begin with. I think I'm the only one who I don't know if you're with me, Envy, who really liked Zane.
I like Zane.
I actually,
I like
yeah,
Zane.
I liked.
Yeah, I
I
like
laughed
Zane.
basically every word he said. I at least chuckled at.
I didn't chuckle.
I don't know. I read a review basically beforehand that he was supposed to be like that Steve Buscemi Ushimi guy that's just like, "What's up, fellow?"
Oh, that was
God, I
so
don't
scary.
care. But
Like the first line he said, I knew I was
nobody can
gonna-
pronounce it right. But it's just like, "What's up, my fellow teenagers?" or whatever. Like,
Yes,
that,
the
cracked
moment
me,
he
but,
said
like,
that, I knew what kind of character I was in for, and I was like, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
all
I
in.
thought that was
the one line
I thought it
that
was
I
okay.
really liked
I had
out
like
of that
other
was
things
like
I was more concerned with to be annoyed with Zayn. So
I didn't like Zayn.
You don't get me
the one
wrong.
line that I liked out of him though was like, they're all hopping into the mechs or whatever, and he's like, "If we were the Beatles, you'd be John, you'd be George." Like, and I was expecting maybe like he was gonna say something about like Nia being Yoko or something, but then he's like, "And I would be the computer." It's like that.
I mean, I don't even remember
caught me
that.
off guard, but I found it.
Okay, that's because the reason you
Because-
remember that, it might be my theater. I don't think I'm going to say what you're going to say. Audio mixing was trash.
No,
Yeah.
no. It was. I was
No,
going to say that
okay.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good point. Actually, the audio was like very, very awful, and
Music
the
was
soundtrack
way
was
too
almost
loud.
non-existent.
Even though the
I don't know
soundtrack's
if you
good.
guys noticed that.
Yeah, no. I
Heroes
totally
are
did.
the
It's like,
way.
Like there were so many like silent scenes in that movie that just had no music at all, and I'm like, why is there no music playing at all? And then like there are some scenes where music is playing, but it's like so quiet and not intense at all for scenes where it really should be intense. And
I
it's
agree.
just it was awful. And like the soundtrack is good, so I don't know why
I wonder
they
if we
didn't
watch the
utilize
movie
it.
on DVD, if that will be a different to us because it might be better mixed in that than it.
Dude, I'm
was
looking
in the
forward to
movie.
seeing the movie on DVD. I'll be honest with you, like syncing it with you guys. Maybe even
Yeah.
watching some deleted scenes. Maybe
No.
share some
I
insight.
do
don't
want
know,
to do
we'll
that.
see.
I would love to do that. Once it actually
Like
comes out,
honestly,
but, like,
I liked it, but I liked it in broad concepts in the sense that, unlike seemingly everyone else, I walked away feeling good, like I just saw a good movie. I don't feel negatively, but when I actually think like what were parts I appreciate, I kind of hit a wall. There's comedy, there's visuals, voice acting, and
Yeah, I guess there's like a lot of oversight to me. Like, there's just like
There
stuff
is.
that I feel like I can forgive for being
Yes.
like not that good.
I'll
And-
agree because like I didn't really like the story, I didn't really like the action, I didn't really like the message, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of in the same boat.
I feel a lot towards the Ninjago movie like I did to Bionicle G2. And that I feel like
The
you
bad
have
quote.
so much
and-
potential.
exactly.
hear
You
that
have
quote.
all the makings of something great right here, but for whatever reason, you just squandered it and you just didn't utilize it to its full potential.
And it's a shame because the sets are so good.
Much potential here. Yeah, some of the best sets. Some of the best wave of sets I think I've ever seen out of
Same.
Lego in a very long time.
Same.
Just all around, like to the point where it's actually frustrating because there's so many sets I want to get and can't because there's too much and I don't have that much money.
I just want
But,
the
like,
dragon.
The
Now
sets are so
specter-
good.
The specter of irrelevance and mediocrity will hang over them.
Exactly. And that's the worst feeling ever. The sets are so good. The visuals are so good. The characters' designs are great. The voices are great. The base personalities are good from what I can tell. If they just worked with them a bit more, they could probably be great. It's just there's so much here.
It's
There's
like,
so much here. You could have made a really good movie with all of this. And I just don't
Yeah.
understand how they managed to screw that up.
Well, let's close out with this thought on that point then. The movie is what it is. I'm not going to bother giving it an arbitrary number ranking personally. It's not perfect by any means. Whether it falls above or below average on your spectrum is whatever. But let's
5 out of
take a look
10.
at actual logistics here. Because I think this movie could be improved with a sequel. Will it
Yes.
get a sequel?
No.
Because it's
Oh,
getting
God,
like
no. Why would
straight
it?
average on Rotten Tomatoes. And I don't know what the
Box Office
the
Mojo,
box office
it
would look like.
so Box Office Mojo was trying to forecast what the movie would turn out to be. Warner Brothers was hoping. I'm going to scroll down here so I can get an actual accurate statement. Warner Brothers was hoping for anywhere from 27 million to 32 million for an opening, and that's undercut what Batman did. Batman, they were hoping for, I think, around 60 some million to
So they cut it in half.
right, and so
they
they
cut
cut
it
it in
in
half because of the review scores and everything. Currently, it is it's only made an estimated 21.2 million from 4,000 theaters. The
There
lowest
is-
opening by a very
There's
large
almost
margin.
no way they will make a sequel to this.
Unless you guys go and support
I
it.
can't imagine a world
So
where they
please
do
do.
it.
I will personally fund
No.
the sequel.
I do think they
Yeah,
they might
they'll have
though.
one direct to DVD.
I do think they might
Oh, no.
like if they can take the thing about Lego, I feel would take the criticism and be able to do it then like
Go at stride, yeah.
The movies won't.
the movies.
Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers is what I'm worried about. I don't think the execs at Warner Brothers are going to greenlight another Lego Ninjago movie after seeing how poorly it resounded with critics and how poorly it resounded with audiences. Already, the Lego Batman movie didn't resound with audiences as much as everyone was liking. They were hoping it would resound a lot more, and it didn't. Ninjago is apparently it's reaching a much smaller fraction of that. I was hoping that the large kid market, because from what I've heard, the kids really like the movie, and all the kids that they showed to in focus groups actually really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So maybe.
Quick funny story. I promise I won't take more than like a minute. My theater was filled with kids, and we weren't let into the theater right away. We had to like stand outside the door while they were cleaning, I guess, and then people got let in. And I heard the kids just making conversation with their parents about the movie. And like one thing I overheard was one kid was feeling down about the movie. He didn't want to see it because they changed how Zane looked. And he was like, "Yeah, it's really upset. I'm really sad about that. I miss old Zane." They changed Zane, and he was really upset about that. And kids laughed like 3 times. There was no enthusiasm.
There was girls.
There was
there
no
just 2
joy.
girls in front of us at an 11 o'clock showing then that laughed at everything, and we thought they were being.
I'm
ironic
convinced
at
they
first.
were under the influence.
I'm as well.
The influence of milk.
The influence.
point
of
I'm-
milk.
The point I make by bringing that up is like, whether the movie gets another sequel, probably not. Like that's kind of said and done. What does this mean for Ninjago as a franchise?
I don't know, dude. I'm really worried because like the sad thing is they made a lot of changes to the Ninjago base. To the base, to this show, to everything, to accommodate this movie and to accommodate a general audience that they were hoping to bring in, right? And in doing so, they turned off a lot of fans, a lot of people that really liked the franchise and were willing to support it otherwise. And unfortunately, it seems like that might have been in vain because right now those changes and all that accommodation was for a movie that isn't that great, and a lot of people aren't going to go see, and a lot of people aren't going to care about.
And it's such a shame because like I'm on board with the idea of a reboot. Like I understood why they did it. I mean, we've talked to like some of the voice actors from Ninjago. I would have preferred if they were able to keep some of those people on board. I also get why they're like okay, some of the stuff I got from a larger perspective to reach a wider audience. You do have to have people attached. You have to do all that stuff. Okay, but they did that in vain because the final product isn't that great, and it's not reaching the greater audience. It's not getting more people in invested in Ninjago, which is what I wanted to happen from this movie.
Yeah, if anything, it's ruining the brand.
I wanted to be able to talk to my friends about some of these characters and be like, of course, because I saw the movie, I get it. Like I can mention Emmett to my friends and they're like, of course, we've seen the Lego movie, we know what you're talking about. I can't talk about Zane or Kai or anything like this because honestly speaking, I can't in good conscience recommend this movie to my friends. 100% as an enjoyable thing.
Either.
I can't say you will go to this movie and you will have a good time, even if you don't know the characters because it's it's still a Lego movie. Can't do that. And that
Now, don't get me
kills
wrong.
me.
When I mention the future of Ninjago, I'm not like I see some people in the live studio audience. I'm not insinuating it might get canceled. I don't think it's going to get canceled. What I'm saying is this was the chance for Lego to springboard, launch Ninjago into a new wave of popularity with general audiences, and it could only go upwards from there. Now that has not hit the landing as much as they wanted, I don't know if it's ever going to get an opportunity like that again.
Yeah.
Nor do I know what it means for budget allocation, the tone of the show. It's all muddied
If the
now.
movie was good, you would not have to worry about where Ninjago stood with Lego for a very long time. Now that the movie is not good, I have no clue what Ninjago is going to do.
I
from this
don't
point
know
on.
either.
It's very up in the air.
it-
It doesn't necessarily mean it's not doomsday, right? It doesn't mean
Right.
the line's going to get canceled or anything.
Yeah, no.
But
It's an evergreen theme.
the other way around, though, Ninjago would have been in the minds of everyone, out there. And there's if you were a fan of this franchise, there's nothing to worry about because
they had every
it's not
opportunity.
going anywhere.
They had every opportunity to turn this into a mega hit where it's like another
Now,
generation's
I
Power
don't know.
Rangers. And they instead now it's a movie.
I think to close my thoughts, I'm going to say one thing that I feel is very emblematic. We just got the next wave of Ninjago sets revealed. Cole's mech, the volcano layer, etc., etc. And I think something that perfectly summarizes the state of the movie right now is for the first time since Possession, they're making a set, it's a spinner. They've brought back Spinjitzu. They're making a Ninjago movie, Lloyd Garmadon spinner. And it's for a movie with no Spinjitzu.
Oh my
They
god.
made these changes for something that did not deliver. And I feel you can take that and you can apply it to everything, and you just gotta cross your fingers. You know, if you like Ninjago, support it in any way you can.
The worst thing about it,
Don't
too,
want to be an
is, like,
alarmist, but
I can blame Lego for Bionicle, right? I can be like, guys, you really screwed up Bionicle here. The saddest thing, though, is I don't think it's Lego's fault.
100%
with
it is.
Ninjago.
It's
Warner
No.
Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Lego.
driving it.
Warner Brothers.
Lego did everything they could to make this successful. These sets are some of the best sets we've ever had in this line.
And I feel bad too.
They put in all their money into this.
If you think about it too, Lego definitely expanded their factory stuff, and they did a lot of expansion last year, probably on like anticipating the large amount of demand coming from these two movies.
Yeah, the assumption that the Ninjago movie would be a big thing.
And now these not only have the Lego Batman movie did still pretty well, but it underperformed a little bit. I would say the Ninjago movie is also underperforming by a very large margin right now, both critic-wise and box office-wise. I hope it picks up. I don't want anything to fail from this movie. I want it to succeed. The issue is we just now know that Lego is letting a lot of their employees go. You know, they're letting a lot of people that work at the place go. I hope it's no one that we've ever interacted with, obviously enough, but they are having to make cuts, and it's coming with the loss of jobs. And that, what happens in the Ninjago movie could have an impact on where Lego as a company goes in farther into the future, because they were worried about the expansion of the U.S. market, and the U.S. market after Ninjago, it's not going to be as big as
It's not going to be.
I think they're
it's
hoping
not
it
going
would be.
anywhere.
So
I'm very worried, not even just about Ninjago, but just
Lego as a whole, you know,
going forward. Yeah,
and
this is a big hit.
I hate that a lot of people are pointing to this bad movie and being like, well, this is a sign that the franchise is getting stale. And
Right. All the reviews you watch of this movie, you're going to see people being like, I don't know, I feel like those Lego movies are starting to run out of steam, or I feel like there's not much more potential for these Lego movies.
And so the brand name is already kind of evaporating from the Lego movies as a standard of quality, which was my biggest thing about the Lego movies is that I always said beforehand, I love that we don't have to pretend they're good. When the Lego movie came out, I didn't have to go around pretending like I'm a Transformers fan, like I'm a Superman fan, or a Batman fan. When Batman and Superman comes out, I don't have to go around making excuses as to why the movie's good. The movie was legitimately good. I thought it deserved the Oscar. It didn't, but I was better than any animated movie I saw that year. The Lego Batman movie was also pretty good as well. I understand when people didn't like it, but everyone agreed it was still a really great kids movie. This one's
I didn't feel like the Lego Batman movie reduced in quality.
No.
I liked it less, but I don't think it tried like any less than the first movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was still a great quality movie. This one's the one that I thought the critics beforehand, I was making excuses. If you listen to Last Brick Feed, you can go right now and listen to that Last Brick Feed. I'm like, maybe the critics aren't really getting it. They didn't grow up with the characters. We know them. Maybe it's different from a fan perspective. Maybe it's different from someone who is open to the idea of a reboot, you know, or like looking at this a bit more objectively. I can't make that. Objectively, I didn't like it. I really didn't. And I hate that I have to say that, but objectively, I came out of the movie saying this is a bad movie. I'm so upset I have to say that. You know, out of all the three movies, this is the one I wanted to be good.
Yep. Same. This is the one I was hoping would be good.
I would be okay if Lego Batman
Rip.
fell flat on its face and Lego Ninjago movie did
Same.
amazingly. I would have been 100% okay with that. As a Batman.
I
fan.
wouldn't
Why
have.
did they release two movies
Batman's
in one
way
year?
better than Ninjago.
I
could've
have
just-
no idea.
They should
I
have
have
just
no idea.
postponed Ninjago a year or still worked on it. Could have been actually good.
I mean, we know that they already did that with the Hands of Time stuff, or was it Hands of Time? Or,
Yeah, we know they already delayed this movie. Like, this movie's already been delayed from when it was supposed to come out. I have no clue what's going on with this movie behind the scenes, but clearly something's up.
The moral of this is that all this would have changed had Lego just hired us to write the script 3 years ago. That's what you should take away from this.
And there you go,
There you
folks.
go,
An hour and
folks.
27 minutes of our resume.
Hey,
No,
making that progress. You'll be there soon enough.
But for real though, like there's a lot of script issues with that. And that's the rest of the movie is built on a very well. The visuals again, the designs, everything, the cast, everything. The foundation is
the
rotten.
problems are fundamentals.
And when the foundation is rotten, the house will come crashing and crumbling down around you. And that's
Dude,
the issue.
this whole movie, it's Garbodon's home.
Wow.
Garbodon's.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our thoughts.
I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed it, and my biggest problem with recommending it is more because it's Ninjago than anything else. Like, I don't even, like, whether or not it was bad or good is a totally different matter to me. I just feel like none of my friends enjoy Ninjago to the point, or like would enjoy Ninjago to the point where like, yeah, go see this
No,
movie.
totally.
But
Someone mentioned that you could say
I actually
like,
told someone to watch it, and I had a friend come up to me at church today when we were talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw the Lego Ninjago movie," and he enjoyed it. So I don't know.
Oh, fair enough. Someone in the comments said that they've seen people recommend a TV show in the comments of like different forums and stuff. So like, oh, if you don't like the movie, the TV show is still pretty good. The issue is TV show. I like the TV show. It's good. It also doesn't appeal to other people my age. And the Ninjago movie was the place to make that happen. The TV show is it's a more serious in tone, but it's also very geared towards kids. There's a lot of kid dialogue, kid issue. Like it's based around a kid audience. This one is the chance they had to kind of age it up a little bit, do some wittier jokes, do some, bit more, not adult humor, but like more, aged up humor.
Something better than you're stupid, you look
Clever
dumb,
humor.
That
you smell
moment-
I
bad,
don't know,
your
that
butt smells
cracked me
bad.
up. I don't
That
know.
moment where
There-
someone says, "I have a message for your brother." He says you're dumb and you look like a butt. I was like, "Are you serious?" I remember I looked at you, Ben, and I was like, "Okay, what?"
Yeah.
They set
I
that
thought
joke
that was
up,
a little funny.
and I thought it was so.
I
bad.
enjoyed the irony of it.
I
I,
thought
loved
that
their
one was
banter
kinda
from
funny,
the
too.
fact that it was just
Oh,
like
man.
Wow,
these two
you
old
guys.
these two
You
old
guys.
guys throwing childish insults at each other. That's, I don't know. There was like, I enjoyed it because it was
I don't
pretty
know.
ironic.
I think it's just because I've seen it already.
Yeah, I've seen that like,
guess, like,
so,
almost everywhere.
so much.
Oh, old
basically.
guys acting childish. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. There's like a comedy every movie just like that. I mean, every movie. Wow, there's like a comedy every year.
And also,
that
like
does that.
every theater, we were in our theater. They showed so many trailers for other kids' movies, and I can't tell you how many times the word "butt" was used in that stupid like Ferdinand trailer. And there's
Yeah, or a
So-
fart or something
Yeah,
like
or
with
fart.
the pigs.
right,
God.
exactly.
Duck goose.
Duck
whatever
Duck
that was.
Goose. That movie
Looks
looks so
terrible.
dumb.
I don't think we saw
It
that.
looks terrible.
There's a Beatrix Potter one, the Peter Rabbit or something as well. It was just like so many fart jokes, so many like toilet humor was in it, and I was like, ah. And the moment that they resolved that for the Lego Movie, I was like, no, come on, guys, you're better than this. I watched the opening minutes of the Lego Movie today just to make sure I didn't imagine it. Still funny, hilarious. And then he gets you over. No, I'm not gonna get into it.
I drew.
Still hilarious.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Final thoughts in 5 words. Describe how you thought about this movie.
It sucked.
Or you go first.
Oh, okay.
Don't watch it.
5 words.
5 words?
Or less if you need.
Okay.
I think it's a fun challenge.
It's awfully horrid.
John?
5 out of 10.
Nice. We'll skip you. Give me time
No,
to
no,
think.
I got
Good.
it. Everything great, but the story. but the script. Everything great, but the script. 3 out of 10.
Ben.
Wow. 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10, dude.
Didn't I say my piece already, or did
I
I?
think you
Five
kinda
words.
did.
5 words.
You can skip if you want.
It sucked. Don't watch it.
Purple?
Go support Lego's ideas.
I can't even like say you should support.
Oh, I
this
got
movie.
it. I got another 5 word. Go watch other Lego movies.
Wow, mange.
Have some oversight, 6.5-7 out of 10.
Oh yeah, 4.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Man, you lowered it again.
I'm gonna say Ninja Go to the theater, please. 7 out of 10. Oh wait, mech battles kind of sucked. 6 out of 10.
You cheater.
Yeah.
You
Wonder
made up
where
these
that
rules.
joke came
That
from.
was you.
I said my 5 words first. Everything else was optional.
Oh, I got another
Come
one.
on. All right.
Everything is awful.
Everything is awful.
Alright.
The weekend weep.
Everything is awful.
I like
The
I like
weekend weep,
ATs.
guys.
The weekend.
The weekend weep.
The weekend
I like AT's thing. AT's thing in the chat. Bad movie. Go see it.
Listen again. If you love Lego, if you love seeing IPs, if you're invested in Lego, please go watch this movie because they do.
If you
need
like
to know.
Ninjago, go see it.
Yeah,
This is your movie.
They need to
Like,
know.
They didn't do it great, but it is still Ninjago.
You got to
so-
represent, especially if you love Ninjago. You got to represent. Just like this is, you need to show Warner Brothers that some audience is still out there because they're not going to see it otherwise. And I totally get, I 100% get, because we spent.
Yeah, it's like they either get another chance or another.
right.
It's not gonna
exactly.
happen.
This is
Nothing else
this
is
is
gonna
a
happen else.
corporate thing to say because we're not dealing with
To
Lego. We're
Ninjago
dealing with Warner
fans,
Brothers right now.
Rent
right?
it.
Those guys are the producers, the people in charge of Warner Brothers are not going to greenlight anything unless they see it has some potential to earn that money back. The only way they're going to show it is if you guys still go out and support it. Even though we spent the last hour talking about all the flaws of this movie and even saying how it bored us and stuff, that's the only thing that's going to make it. So if you care about Lego that much, go see it. If not, you know our opinions on it.
If you care about Ninjago that much, that's what I would say. I don't know about.
I think like Lego, if you have an investment in Lego IP, you have to realize how important this Lego is for Lego. To even have another chance to do their original stuff in the future, they need to
This
show
Lego
Warner
is
Brothers
for
that
Lego.
they can do anything with their original stuff.
Like,
That's just how corporate works.
a good way
That's how
I'll put it,
works,
if
you
you
know?
want to expand the Lego movie universe, I'll put it to you this way: we're never going to get a Lego Nexo Knights movie. You know,
No,
honestly,
that
it never was
attitude.
going to happen. But the only way it could have ever happened is for this movie to be successful.
Well,
That's the way I kind of look at it. This movie has to open the door, and at this point, it's like the doorknob's stuck. But if everybody goes, and
the
sees
doorknob
it,
fell off because no one made the door properly.
the foundation, the screws holding the door together were so badly made, the door just kind of fell apart.
They should have put the
There
third
was
act
a
of the
door.
door on the top.
High quality wood, high quality wood, but bad screws.
There was a door.
all right, let's go ahead and end this, guys.
Let's close the door.
This has been our Ninjago movie review.
Let's close the door.
I wish we could have been more positive, but at the end of the day, it's still, you might still
Oh, I'm
get
pretty
something out of it.
positive I'm not going to see this movie again.
I'm pretty positive this video is gonna have a ton of dislikes.
I
I'm
want
pretty
to
positive.
I'm
so
probably
does
gonna go
this
back in a
movie.
few weeks.
talk about it on the
Yeah.
on the comments and talk about it on the boards. I want to hear your opinion.
Expect future things coming from our discussion on this movie in the future. I'm sure we'll bring it up a billion times, or just talk about it on Brainstorm, etc., etc. But that's our thoughts, and we will see you all for the next Ninjago themed video. I'm Mesa.
I'm Var.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm disappointed.
I'm Ven.
Oh yeah, hi.
Who
I'm
are you?
purple.
Okay.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
And farewell, everybody. I don't know what to say. It sucks it had to be this way, but we'll see y'all next time for more.
Life
the weekend
sucks
week.
and then you die.
I feel bad for
Weekend
Purple the most. This is your Bionicle, and
Dude, is this what
Gotta-
G2 felt like for you
This
guys?
is
feel
what-
bad for
This
the
is
Hagen
exactly what
brothers.
That's
G2
what-
felt like.
Oh.
except the one bright side is you didn't get your movie, and then the next day found out the line's canceled.
Exactly.
You don't know,
Yeah,
man. Maybe in a few days.
We'll see y'all
You
next
still have
time.
another season of a show confirmed.
Yeah,
we got
Bye,
nothing.
guys.
Oh man.
Count your blessings. You got a movie and the continuation of a show.